Welcome to the first match of our Trainer School League. I'm your host V, and today we have my co-host Wire Dragon.
Hello, hello.
Today our competitors are Matt Y, who's the coach of the Ambibob-ombs, and Salt of the Chillin Cyndaquils. Um, is there any Pokemon that you're looking to express delight in today?
There's a lot of really cool Pokemon in this matchup, and I think there's no better way to get into it than actually pulling up each team and just looking at some of the incredible Pokemon that these trainers have selected. Why don't we start with? I think we start with Matt's. Matt's has a lot going on.
Yeah, so the main two that I like on his team would be Garganacl, because that is the Salt Rock Pokemon against Salt, which is pretty funny in my opinion. And the other one is Slitherwing, just because it's Volcarona but old style, and I personally just like its look. Kind of like a Stegosaurus type of thing.
I'm absolutely with you. Slitherwing is such an incredible Pokemon, not only by looks, but we can talk about its move pool too, getting incredible stuff like First Impression, Flame Charge for increasing his speed tier. It's a really powerful Pokemon and only at a UU level, so really cool to see that get picked up.
Yeah, and its typing is pretty funny too. And then we got with Salt, who has the Cryagonal, who is just a pure Ice type, but is insanely fast if you boost it with Scarf. Um, just on base, it's also pretty fast, but if you get it all the way up there, that's a 508 with Scarf, max everything. Like that's an insanely fast Ice type.
Oh, absolutely. Just an incredible Pokemon overall, and on a relatively bulky team, too. His high tiers are Amoonguss and Orthworm, which are two incredibly defensive mons, and I'm excited to see how it works out for him, especially trying to face that Garganacl. A really interesting matchup for our first overall match of the season. So, really excited to get into it.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that Orthworm, we are doing something where our draft was actually organized prior to the Shed Tail removal or ban. So in this case, they're doing anything goes, but it is OU with that one exception that will hold true for the Chilling Cyndaquils for our whole draft league. The other Pokemon I wanted to touch up on real quick was just Magnezone, because I like him. He was in a previous draft that we did, just as friends. And he was just a fun little AutoZone guy, and I love him so much.
Powerful electric type moves, power steel type moves, hard to get over that. There's one weakness being ground, but you pop an air balloon on that baby. Ooh, man, you go off to the races.
Yeah, Air Balloon is a funny item. So yeah, shall we get into it?
Absolutely. Let's head into our match right now. And some interesting Pokemon brought.
Yeah, there is that Garganacl and that Slitherwing that we got going on. We also have a King Gambit, a Rotom Heat, a Tatsugiri, and a Doug Trio from the Ambibob-ombs. And then on the Chilean Cyndaquil side, we got the Amoonguss, we got that Diagonal, that Magnezone, that Krogunk, Krogunk, the Vaporeon, and that Orthworm. So I'm willing to see if that Shed Tail comes through, just because that's a funny move to happen. But yeah, any notable Pokemon that you can see here?
We talked about the Slithering coming in, very offensive, super powerful. Looks good into most of that opposing team. However, I'm really looking towards the Cyndaquil side, and there's not a lot to resist that Rotom Heat. Every single one of these Pokemons is weak to either a Fire type move or an Electric type move. So that Terra is going to be super important. I really am interested to see how the defensive capabilities work. I do want to bring up, by the way, that this league has Terra captains. Each team has the ability to Terra type only 2 Pokemon on their team, so that might come up, and we'll talk about the Terra captains later. But let's talk about this lead.
All right, here we go. So we got a Tatsugiri against a Magnezone. Now we're just waiting on their first moves. Is there anything that you can notably think for these Pokemon to start off with.
I mean, relatively neutral, right? No Pokemon has a super effective, but I mean, immediate switch out in a
Whoa.
prediction. Oh man, prediction caught
Oh.
on right
He,
away.
yeah, he's not gonna have that Volt Switch. But now that Magnezone can get out of there, for free. So now he can predict. I'm gonna go with maybe a Vaporeon. That seems like the safe option. Is there any other?
He actually
Ooh, with a
stays
Stealth
in,
Rock, with a
and
Thunderbolt.
unfortunately hitting the Thunderbolt, perhaps predicting a switch here. Really getting a free Stealth Rex up with the Bob-ombs, and I mean, this is a great spot for the Bob-ombs to begin this game off with.
Yeah, and then we got. Oh man, this is just funny. And then we got the shiny Doug Trio. I just noticed his little blue nose.
I mean, the wonderful part
Switching
about
fields.
Showdown is that we get to pick which Pokemon are shiny, so might see a little bit of the trainer specifications here.
Ooh, Toxic Croak into an Earthquake. Ooh,
Ooh,
that was definitely a move.
it's beautiful play by the
By
Bob-ombs.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
Oh man, just a great super effective move, getting a free switch. Potentially, though, we gotta understand that this might be a sack off switch trying to get something into this Doug Trio. So we gotta see what he switches into here, and it is the Orthworm.
Okay, now we're just gonna wait. I do like the Stealth Rocks. That isn't a nice thing to just have on the field. Looking at their teams real quick, they both do have a Rapid Spin removal. Um, that's one from the Cryogonal and then one from the Tatsugiri itself. Oh, and the Tatsugiri came out with a body press from the Orthworm, doing about 60% of Tatsugiri's health.
Yeah, and it makes sense. The Doug Trio probably can't do much to the Orthworm with the Earth Eater ability, so he had to switch out there, maybe go into his Larva type, predicting the Steel type move, but even still, a lot of damage from that Orthworm.
Yeah, and just for people who may not know, what exactly does Earth Eater do?
Absolutely. So, similar to how Water Absorb works, if you were to hit the Orthworm with an Earthquake, it would actually heal HP back.
Okay. And we just saw a Hydro Pump from the Tatsugiri, and then the Orthworm did an Iron Defense. Another Hydro Pump, finishing off the Orthworm right there. Hopefully that was a good switch or a good sack off, for future reference.
Well, and realistically,
And
the
then,
offensive pressure here is incredible from the Bob-ombs.
yeah, and now we got the Cryogonal for that Levitate ability. That's the only one that but it is it's going against a Dragon Water type, so he's hoping for the type advantage with that ice. Oh, and then we got a switch out for a Freeze Dry on that Rotom Heat Electric Fire type. Oh, and then another switch out to Vaporeon on the Chillin Cyndaquil side. Doing about, what was that, 42% on that Volt switch from the Rotom Heat. So now he's looking to switch out. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
relatively, I just want to point out that didn't do anything for being a super effective move. That is an extremely bulky Vaporeon. So he's got to consider whatever he switches into is getting into something that's relatively defensive. So maybe the offensive pressure from the Vaporeon isn't that worrying, even if it is something like a Surf or a Hydro Pump along those lines.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's see. Any switch-ins that you're thinking of? I'm gonna bank on that Slytherin. Or not Slytherin. The Slitherwing.
Ooh, predicted right. I mean, looking at this position, this first impression does a lot into this team here.
Yeah, most definitely. And then we got Vaporeon with leftovers, so this is definitely a bulky build.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to know what, like, considering how much resistance it had from that special attack. I'm wondering how much is also invested into that defensive stat, maybe favoring the switch into something like that Rotom to be able to have a decent pivot mon to a typing that would normally be really good against it.
Oh, and then he did a U-turn for about 40% of Vaporeon's health. Vaporeon's still alive, which is, I would say, a miracle, just because of how low it was. But yeah, that U-turn did only 40%, looking to taking that Slitherwing out of the match. Let's see, what else could he switch into? I'm thinking that King Gambit now,
Yeah, it's kind of
just
hard
because that.
here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that King Gambit and that Doug Trio, and they just don't seem like good ideas.
Oh,
Storm Drain Tatsugiri. All right.
I mean, predicting the water move gets that free special attack boost. I mean, I just can't like stop looking at how good the position here is for the Bob-ombs. Wonderfully switching into these moves and getting a really good advantage against a lot of these Pokemon.
Yeah, that little sushi guy is he just knows how to handle himself against Chillin Cyndaquils team, and then the Cryogonal comes back out, gets hit with the Draco Meteor, and it's out, lowering the special attack of the Tatsugiri.
I, I mean,
Honestly, I feel like that's pretty fang.
I mean, at +1, there's not a lot surviving that.
And he could definitely take the the downside of Draco Meteor, just because he already had the high special attack. And then switching into King Gambit against an Amoonguss.
Use the foul
Any
play
fun
there.
thoughts?
I mean, the foul play is interesting because it's a move that you normally don't see on a Moongus, though it really is nice to have an attacking move on it, not that doesn't have to use any of your offensive stats. So being able to completely invest in that bulk.
Oh, we got a sword stance from the King Gambit, hit with a spore.
Oh, but the safety goggles preventing the sleep.
He was prepared for that Among Us to come in.
Absolutely what great team building option. I mean, just incredible to look at.
Oh, and then we got a Koto Cleave on the Among Us doing about, what was that, 72% of its health. Another foul play onto the King Gambit doing about 27% of its health. Switching out right into the Magnezone, dropping it down by 92%, leaving it only Magnezone with 2% left of health. Then the King Gambit follows up with a Sucker Punch. That was just a very, very well played by the Ambibob-ombs.
I mean, he's just in such a great position to finish off this game. Not many of the Cyndaquils Mons are going to be able to survive the Sucker Punch. Even if they try to outpredict and maybe go from status move, this Amoonguss is kind of walled by that safety goggles item.
Yeah, that was definitely something that he was maybe overlooked, but that is completely fine because, you know, we have to go through 10 Pokemon for every draft that we fight in. So it's both teams are doing pretty well, honestly. You know, Matt Y I can definitely tell he's a seasoned trainer. So hopefully Chase at least can finish off some Pokemon. Oh, and there we go with the Vaporeon taking the final hit from a Draco Meteor from a Tatsugiri. That is it. That is the battle. Matt has won. The Ambibob-ombs have completed their first match and the first match of the Trainer School League altogether. Any notable battles that happened
I
for
mean,
today?
realistically, right? Like, Bob-ombs played that near perfectly, positioning both the Tatsukiri and that King Gambit, really taking advantage of some of the lower speed but bulkier Pokemon that the Cyndaquils brought. So, I mean, just beautiful switching, beautiful play by the Bob-ombs, and I'm excited to see their team in future drafts, and hopefully we see a little more from the Cyndaquils in a future week, because I'd love to see that bulky defensive team being able to take the spotlight.
I definitely know that I'm terrified of that team. So once it's my turn, I'm gonna have to really plan around what he's gonna bring.
6-0 today. The highest you can get, so just a great sweep, and I mean, I'm just excited to see them play again, maybe switch up some teams, and I think there's definitely a lot for the Cyndaquils to learn, and I think the Bob-ombs should come off this match pretty proud, but making sure that they're ready for their next week match.
Yeah, I could definitely see the Chillin Cyndaquils time. You know, it's been a while for them to play Pokemon. They've told me that personally. So hopefully they learn from this. You know, just keep building, keep understanding, keep researching what their team does, what the other person's team does, and hopefully we got a bunch of resources that they can review on, look back at this match, because it's the only one they got so far. But yeah, hopefully doing a lot of research can help them in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching today. Absolute pleasure. We'll get some more matches underway. Next week is going to be, if I remember correctly, the Sinister Quills versus the Obstagoons. So please check that out next episode. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye bye.